Hey there everyone, welcome back to another look between the lines. First and most importantly, we hope everyone's been staying safe, as travel has hit all-time highs for this year despite the lockdown, despite the pandemics. Please make sure that you're trying to find alternative solutions to large gatherings or risking people's health. There's been so many stories already of families that get together and then wind up with a whole bunch of people getting sick, and especially if you have older family members or anyone with any health issues, even ones they don't know about, it can cost so much more than just one set of holidays where you choose to do it through a Zoom call or through a video call, FaceTime, anything other than being face to face. The cost to benefit is so weird because here in 2020, we have technology that we haven't had ever before. You can be halfway across the world and look at what your friends are eating. You can talk with family as if it's face to face, and you can do all this without putting yours or other people at risk. Now, of course, for those of you that are choosing to still travel and meet with family for whatever reason, that's completely understandable. Just do it safe. Remember, there's still a lot going on. There's the political tensions from the ongoing election, and most importantly, coronavirus cases are still reaching all-time highs, and it's going up each day. Make sure that you're not part of that statistic and just try and be safe as you travel if you're going to. And speaking of travel and the changes that are going on, the election drama is back as a judge recently blocked any further steps for the certification of Joe Biden in his presidency or the votes that are supporting him there. Now, that doesn't take all the other states that Joe Biden has already won that gives him the presidency, but it's something that's still just ongoing that's keeping that legal battle alive. As long as that goes on, there's still going to be doubt and there's still going to be that misconception that this was a fake election or this was fraudulent or the votes weren't real or anything that they can latch on to. And again, we've covered that ad nauseum. That's something that just shouldn't happen here in 2020 when we have the technology that's proven time and time again that we have a good system. Right now, we should be celebrating the transition to a new president. Our Dow has hit an all-time high. We are coming up with a coronavirus vaccine that's going to be distributed to our most populated states soon so it can have the widest impact. There's a lot of good news on the horizon, but there's also a lot of skeletons in the closet from recent years, and we need to be thankful that we're able to get past everything that's going on, but those who forget history are doomed to repeat it, and so we definitely need to focus on not just being grateful that we are getting to a better stage as a country, as a people, and even for the whole world, but also that we don't forget what has happened and what needs to never happen again. Donald Trump was just one man. One single man that had a reality TV show and $1 billion real estate empire largely funded by his inheritance and family ventures. He could not have gotten all the way to president by himself. He could not have implemented the policies that he did or created the division that he has without the support of people that would pass his bills, people that would vote for him, and people that would help fund his campaigns. Presidential campaigns are funded by other people. They're funded by donations, they're funded by third parties, and they are supposed to be set up to where it's the people's voice. And that's something that's scary to think about with Donald Trump. The people spoke for him, and that doesn't mean everyone. It doesn't even mean the majority. As a matter of fact, Hillary won the popular election, which means she got more votes than Donald Trump in 2016. And what that means is, in 2016, regardless of all the other stuff that's been accused and everything in the background and what you feel about that, enough people voted for Donald Trump to create a doorway for him to get into the seat of the president. And that's something we have to think about. That many people supporting him also contributed so much to the divides that are going on right now. It's why people have been at each other's throats. You can't have half of a country against another, but you cannot at the same time support an environment that enables something that we all need to avoid. I'm sure you've seen it on the news, and we want to talk about that just a little bit on what the dangers of fascism really means. From Mussolini to Stalin to Castro and all the others that we have studied in our history books, that we hear about in the news, and that we have looked at what we wish to avoid in our country and as well as prevent in others. One thing is in common about all of them, and that's they were supported by the people that wanted an uprising that was at the detriment of others. The removal of democracy and the shift into a totalitarian government is what enables fascism. It's what enables dangerous idealisms of the government getting to choose who they like, getting to choose who they don't like, and we don't want to go back 200 years to the dark years of America's past where it was quite the same. You don't have to forgive and forget for everyone, but we do have to come together as a people and so that's something that we're going to have to choose moving forward on how to handle your loved ones that you're probably going to visit right now or tomorrow, or even your friends or anyone that you know that voted and enabled something that you cannot and will not stand for. Politics has become something that's so much greater than just a vote for someone to sit into office, which we've talked about. Politics controls what we are going to go through, and the past 4 years of that have made that more apparent than ever before. A divisive leadership means a divisive people. And so if someone that you know supported that, you are going to have to come up with how to bridge that gap with them, because it's something that's going to come. It's something that's going to happen. And whether or not you choose to forgive them and move on, or whether or not you choose to hold that to get against them and to keep them accountable with whatever you choose to do, whether it's not talking to them, cutting them out, or even distancing yourself for a while, that's something you need to choose. And actually here at Between the Lines, we want to take a stop and actually ask, what are you going to do? For your friends, for your loved ones that voted on the opposite side of the fence, regardless which fence you are. After this whole election period is done, how are you going to handle them? How are you handling them? And what do you think the best way is to move forward so we can get to a better place overall as a country? Let us know in the comments, and seriously, let's talk about that, because talking about that is how we come up with the best solution together. No one person has the right answer. That's the beauty of democracy, so seriously, let us know, and let's get back into this. As Biden is stepping in, he's promised to fix a lot of the wounds that have been created, but his vice president, Kamala Harris, is leaving her Senate seat. And as she's leaving a historic gap, because it's going to be an empty seat no longer filled by a woman of color. And that's something that's actually been a concern for people all across the country. What if the next one that fills that Senate seat isn't going to be someone that's pushing us forward to this more equal state? Skin color doesn't determine abilities, but it does determine opportunities, and that's something that we've really been made aware of over the past few years, and Kamala Harris is a beacon for those who want to overcome these gaps. Women's suffrage is a relatively new ordeal. The civil rights movement was just a generation ago, and there's so much that's going on that we are just now learning how to deal with. The implications of your heritage, the implications of your culture, and most importantly, the implications of what other people see, even subconsciously, based on just your skin color, your name, and what they're going to assume about you. It's created so many differences and opportunities versus those who had to struggle more, and of course the gaps of privilege in between. Kamala Harris was someone that overcame all of that to rise all the way up to one of our top offices, and even now she's going even further to get to our vice president tier, but that's leaving a legacy behind that's going to be hard to fill. So let's keep an eye out for whoever's going to be running for these open Senate seats over the next few years. Let's keep this wave of change moving to where we're voting on those that might have a different point of view than the ones that we've relied on for so many hundreds of years that's created so many issues. And that's not to say that everything has been wrong under our government. It's just that this world is different than where it was 200 years ago. That's undeniable. As information's tech and products become more globalized, diversity is becoming so much more mainstream, and it's time to start focusing on how we can make sure that that continues to be a good thing instead of a hindrance for some and an opportunity for others. Regardless of where you grow up, your story is your own, and you can bring something to the table that no one else can, and that's from your history, from your people, your culture, your family, your friends, everything you've been through, and that's something that we should cherish, especially as a diverse nation. So again, please keep an eye out as we're moving forward to further elections, because in 1 century, we've allowed women not only to vote, but they've also risen to fill office seats in our highest tiers of government, and even women of different cultural backgrounds in what has historically controlled the government of the United States up until relatively recently. This is a good thing. A great thing, because the more different backstories and the different mindsets that we can bring together, the more creative our solutions can be, and the more all-encompassing our government can be when it's all coming together to come up with policies that won't just benefit select groups. And one of the biggest things about the divide in our country is wealth. Most of what we hear about when it comes to cultural issues or the divisiveness or racial tension, a lot of it is tied to wealth and wealth opportunities. And that's where Joe Biden's promising to fix that, or at least start to step in for the companies and the CEOs that are paid so much more than their employees, and at least an attempt to try and rein in the gross disparity between our wealthy 1%ers and basically everyone else. Now, the only concerns that Between the Lines we're going to have with that is how that's going to be enforced, because again, with a global economy, it's really hard to hold people accountable for leaving, but we're sure that's something that the Biden administration is thinking about, because they've spoken very confidently that they're going to make a difference in the wealth disparity disparity, and they're going to start holding the rich accountable, especially in regards to how much taxes they're paying in comparison to anyone else. You know it as well as I do, paying taxes is not fun, but it's necessary. Without taxes, we won't have infrastructure, we won't have public servants, and we won't have any of the great things that we all rely on today. And so it's just a good idea that everyone pitches in what they can afford to, and less so about how much they can take out of their taxes instead. But also let us know about that in the comments. Let us know what you think these policies are going to do. Do you think it's going to work? Do you think it's not? Do you think the companies are just going to leave? And what are we going to do about it as a country? And what is our future going to look like over the next 4 years and what's to follow? Tell us about it. Let's talk about it in the comments, and we'd love to hear it. But please, if you like this, hit that like button. It really helps us out and supports this channel's growth as we keep on going forward. And please hit that subscribe button so you can know when we come out with more. Other than that, thank you all for joining us. We hope you stay safe, and to see you next time when we take another look between the lines. Take care.